AV folks pull the projectors down, and we get to watch that happen. Hajj Ibrahim, inshallah, will be giving us a short presentation about a very special opportunity that is happening and the community has. So let's try to bear with us while we get our tech in line, inshallah. Let me bring you the wired mic.
Oh, yeah, where's the wired one?
It's on the ground.
Oops. Yes. Okay, yes, quick announcement. There we go. The children are definitely upstairs is open for them to go and hang out. If they desire, they can definitely stay here and hang out with us. So I'm going to, inshallah, assalamu alaikum everyone. Assalamu rahmatullah. I'm going to be giving this presentation actually with my dear brother Ali Mu'allim, who helped me put the slides together. Sorry, I'm trying to get this here in the middle. So yes, as Justin mentioned, today we want to take this opportunity to give a presentation to the community, about a nice opportunity we feel that has presented itself to Yasin, and kind of give the community, a bit more of a heads up of where we are as far as looking for new locations, and what the situation is here. So before we talk about this new opportunity, I actually wanted to, what's going on here? There we go. Okay, I actually wanted to just spend a brief minute to give a short history of this building, because we know we've gotten a lot of questions over the year. Alhamdulillah, we've been here for the last 4 years. Through COVID, we've been in this space here, 1230 Jefferson, and there's been some confusion, I think within the community about, what happened over the years. Oh, you guys are going to sell it. What happened? Does Yasin own the building, et cetera, et cetera. So we just wanted to give a short history to explain the community so everyone's on the same page, everyone understands, the situation, and, there won't be any more ambiguity. So as you guys know, back in 2018, 2019, Yasin was homeless for a period of time. We had to move out of our space in Santa Ana, and we were doing programs in different places. And so during that time, a community member, Brother Hebat, Mr. Badi, as we mentioned him here, one of our dear community members, he stepped up. This dear brother, he refinanced his home, got a bunch of money to purchase this building for Yasin to use, okay? And the plan is that we, Yasin had an agreement with him that we were going to rent this building to eventually purchase it from him. So that was the intent in the beginning when this building was acquired back in 2019. And then soon after that, we began some construction on the second floor to make, offices and classroom space. We had our first Muharram program here. A little bit after that, the construction got delayed. There were some additional requirements for the city. And the construction was in a half-finished state upstairs, and then COVID happened, and everything got shut down. The building was unfinished, and like many people here in the room, Yasin and a lot of people were facing a lot of financial stress and difficulties during that time, right? Our donations, we weren't having programs. Our donations, decreased. And but here we were stuck with this building. It's got a mortgage. We can't use it. It's unfinished. And so we initially had made the decision to, let's try to list this building for sale during that time. It was in an unfinished condition, and ultimately this didn't end up being, the best decision. I think maybe at the time, it would have been sold for a loss because it was in a unfinished condition, right? And it was in the middle of COVID. It was difficult. So what happened after that, at the end of 2020, Our dear brother, brother Hebat, he basically, really stepped up and took the lead to get the construction done, because we realized the best thing that we could do at that point is still in the middle of COVID, but no matter what happens, like, we've got to finish the construction because it was in an unfinished state. Regardless of what Yassine decides to do or he decides to do, the construction needed to be complete. So, because of our prior obligations, we helped complete this construction. It had to be done, and but around also at that same time, that based on what was what had happened, and things we were dealing with the city and the association here, the board of trustees was thinking that this building is probably not going to be a good fit for Yassine long term. That was kind of felt around that period of time. And ultimately, as as things started to open up in 2021, we basically talked with with Brother Habat, and agreed to, hey, things are opening back up. The construction is done. The building is usable. Let's Yassine, let's reoccupy the building. Have a new lease agreement to come in, use the building, have the space for the community to use as we're slowly coming out of the pandemic. We had our first in-person programs here back in the beginning of 2021. And that brings us to the current day, okay? So, I just want to give that history, that timeline, so that the community understands, this is a very difficult time for the trustees, for Brother Habat, sort of dealing with, with an unfinished building, construction, these major financial obligations in the middle of the global pandemic. It was, but alhamdulillah, we made it through it, and we're grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to make it through it, and for us to have a space here to use and to come together as a community in its aftermath. Okay? So the question, many of you guys may be asking is, okay, we're talking about this, we have a building, we're using a building, it fits our needs for the most part here, so why are we bringing up this issue of we need a new building now, or, we need to purchase another building? Well, if you recall from the timeline that I just laid out for the community, this current building was never meant to be a long-term lease, right? Like, the original plan was for Yassine, our community, to actually purchase this building. It wasn't meant to be a long-term lease. And also our community is continuing to grow in size. And as I mentioned, the trustees didn't feel that this was a good long-term play. And also recently there's been another property on the market that we feel is a good opportunity, and so we wanted to share and present that to the community to get everyone thinking that, hey, this is serious. This is something we need to consider and make a move on. We can't kind of sit around and twiddle our thumbs for the next couple of years and not think seriously about where Yassine is going to be going forward. Okay, so what will happen to this current building? Some people may ask that question. So, that decision will be left to Mr. Badi. So the Yassine board or trustees, we can't answer that question, inshallah. All right, so I just want to invite Brother Ali Muallim, dear brother, who helped compile all of the survey results that you guys submitted, to talk through a little bit what he found, and then share give an intro to this building that we've come across recently. So I'll let you go ahead. This doesn't work.
All right, Assalamu alaikum, everybody. So for those of you familiar with the survey, and those I guess unfamiliar, there was a survey that was available to everyone during the Muharram programs. So we had about 46 respondents for that. And as you can see from this slide, there's an overwhelming majority of people saying that we need a larger building for our community. Over 90% agreed with that. And from this survey, as well as through asking people on my own, there were a few key pain points that we came across, so I just wanted to summarize those. First one is the size of the main hall. So currently we're at about 1,350 square feet. We also have no functional outdoor area for eating and socializing. There's limited parking during business hours, so most of our programs are in the evening after 5 p.m. or on the weekends. But at times we do want to do programs during the daytime. Sometimes there's sisters programs. Sometimes we want to do the Ashura programs or Eid programs. Unfortunately, because we only have 5 current parking spaces available during the business hours, we're restricted in that way. There's also additional limitations from the association. So we are a condo within this entire commercial park. So there's restrictions that are imposed from that. We also have 3 bathrooms. There's 2 downstairs and then 1 upstairs. So inshallah, we're hoping to expand that with the new place. And then the kids space is primarily above us right now. So during the program, if kids are running, they're making noise. Sometimes that noise translates to the main hall. Excuse me, to the main hall. There were a few others, but those are the main ones. So this is the perspective property. It's in Santa Ana. This is the main entrance to it. And as you see here, I don't know if you can see the mouse over there, but this L-shaped building is the building. Oh, okay. Well, I don't think the sisters would see it then, but yeah, we'll do both. So this is the L-shaped building. There's a more southern portion to that building that's also for sale, but the bulk of the presentation is about this L-shaped building. This red box represents the shared parking between these 3 buildings. I wasn't 100% sure if this back row is included within that parking that's available to us all. If that is included, there's 50 parking spots over here. And then these shaded areas are adjacent properties that have additional parking. So this front building has this entire parking space. There's about 120 parking spots there, but they only use about 20. On the street, there's about 20 street parking spaces available. Across the street, there's additional buildings that have parking spaces that, for the most part, were under 50% utilized. And then across the street, there's a giant shopping area with a grocery store and multiple restaurants. And obviously, that has a few hundred parking spots available. So while we have this 50 parking space section dedicated to our property that we're sharing with these 2 other buildings, there's ample parking in that area as well. That inshallah, if we are serious about this property, that we can get into talks with them and see if there's if we can either rent or just borrow some of their parking spots. So whatever the case is, it's a lot better than the current 5 that we have. So again, this is that L-shaped building. We're going to rotate that building a little bit. So this is the front of that building, and this first video is going to show what it looks like from there. So as we enter the main hall, the current main hall would be what we see to the left predominantly. But we'll go over a plan that shows that maybe we can incorporate these back 3 offices into this space. And if need be, we can incorporate these additional offices to make it a much bigger main hall. So this wall right here is this wall. So at least stage 1 would include adding these 3 offices. Actually, this is a bathroom and a kitchenette, and this office to this main space. And then there's 2 offices here. Maybe I should just backtrack for a second so you can see that. So this wall right here, it's these 2 offices. So those can easily be taken down and incorporated into the larger space. Do you want to show the whole video? Qibla is, so north is to our left. But yeah, we'll see it on another slide. So the brothers would be in this portion of the main hall and the sisters on this portion. So this is this first kitchenette right here. And then additional offices back here. And then this is the bathroom right now. That would likely be relocated. And then this is this section where, for now, I guess it's a flex space for us, but inshallah, the plan is if we could add a kitchen, kids spaces, we have space to do other things outside of having a main hall. And this is a secondary entrance that could either become the main entrance or it could be the sister's entrance while we maintain this as the brother's entrance. But that entrance that we just saw is over here in the map. And then I said that there's a second building that we could also purchase that's beyond this corridor. But up until this corridor is the building end right here. And then if there's a courtyard over here that's shared by the 3 buildings in this area, this is the point of view from within that courtyard. When we were touring this property, the agent did say that there is interest from the other properties, or I guess the other buildings to, oh, sorry. Okay. That there is interest to renovate this outdoor space. I think for our purposes, maybe we'd want to get rid of some of the greenery, make more open spaces for seating. As you see, there is some seating already, but we'd like to expand it if that is possible. So this is sort of a summary of the pain points right here. So some of the must-haves that we'd like are a larger main hall space. So as I said, we're right now sitting with 1,350 square feet here. If we incorporate the back 3 office spaces in the diagram that I showed, we'd have 2,150 square feet. If we were to incorporate all the offices from front to back, we'd get almost 2,500 square feet. Like I discussed, we currently have 5 parking spaces during the weekdays. Over there, we'd have about 50 shared spots that we can use, and then there's additional 20 street parking. Neighboring businesses have at least 120 additional, and then if we just look at the first row from the shopping center, there'd be at least another 50. Currently, we're renting, but as we all know, we want all the Muslim communities in this country and throughout the world to be strong. And if you're in the state of rentership the whole time, that's not a financially strong position to be in. So we are hoping, inshallah, to be in a position to own. We currently have 3 bathrooms, but based off of the plans that I'll go over, we'll have an option to expand up to 7. The kids space right now is disruptive, being above us, but this is the prospective property is a single-story building, so we'd have them a little separate from the main hall to, inshallah, maintain peace inside the main hall. We do have a kitchenette right now, and then there is potential to build a kitchenette or a full kitchen in the new place as well. And I didn't mention this, but the zoning in this area is also accommodating of religious buildings as well as schools. So for our purposes, it should not be an issue. Then these are some.
Watch your time, 'cause
Oh, okay, sure. Thank you. Some nice to haves would be the ability to generate revenue. I'll leave that for Brother Ibrahim. I think we'd have to purchase the second property more so for that. We can build some alternative spaces for either mom's rooms or kids' rooms if we were to use that flex space. Some people in the survey mentioned something about a youth lounge or making the center in a way that it can accommodate family gatherings. Not for specific families, but let's say Friday nights, there's always a place for the family to go to just to socialize. If kids are bored, they don't have homework or anything like that, there's a space for them at the center rather than having to figure all that out on their own. Playground, it's unknown if we can use the courtyard for that, but if we can have it, great. If not, at least we'll look into it. I'll go over this quickly. This is the location of the new spot. If we were to go forth with it, this is the current Yasin location. And then I made circles for the general geographic areas of the people that answered the survey and put a number for how many people responded for that area. So for example, in the Irvine, Santa Ana area, there were 9 people. In the Viejos, there were another 7. In Corona, there was 6. So overall, it seems like it would be a net neutral for the community with the location change, with some people not having any changes in their commutes, some people having up to a 5 to 7 minute increase, while others benefit with an 8-minute decrease. Overall, it seems either neutral or slightly net positive. And then I think maybe I'll leave this slide, or from here on, for Brother Ibrahim. I have work, unfortunately. But for Justin's question, this is essentially Qibla in this direction. And then you can look over here. These are the 3 spaces to incorporate for 1,750 square feet. If we were to incorporate these as well, which we'll show on the next slide, we'd get almost I think 2,450 square feet. But yeah, I'll leave that for Brother Ibrahim.
Okay. Inshallah, thank you so much, Brother Ali. So yeah, just to finish up quickly, these are some ideas of some of the build-out possibilities that we have. One of the things that makes us relatively excited about the particular space is that to reconfigure the main space shouldn't require any structural engineering. Most of the walls for the offices are just partition walls, so that should make any construction significantly less expensive. But that is sort of the open question that we're going to be getting answered soon. Exactly, what different, how much a build out would cost to make it nice and functional for the community. Yeah, this another possibility of completely expanding it and getting answers to the price tag of some of these is what actually the community is going to be doing this week. We getting some appointments scheduled with some contractors to actually figure this out, so we have a good feel of what that commitment would be. So as we mentioned, the price tag on this is 1.2 million. So we've done a bit of work to work with the loan officer to see what it would take for Yasin as a nonprofit to to secure a loan to purchase a building. So City National Bank actually offered some pretty good terms for us. For most banks that we spoke to, they wanted 50% down for a nonprofit to purchase a building, which of course here in SoCal is quite a bit of money. City National Bank, they they looked at our financials for the last 3 years, and said that they could do a 35% down, so 65% loan to value. A loan for us, at 6.5% with 25 years. So that for this corresponds to a down payment of around 450,000. We put a rough number in there of 100,000 for the build out, to get all the carpeting, remove some of those walls, add another bathroom. Like I said, we think it should be relatively affordable because there isn't any structural engineering that should happen in the nice big hall that has the vaulted ceilings and stuff like that. So this is this is what it would correspond to our monthly payment with HOA fees and mortgage. We won't have to, inshallah, won't have to pay any property taxes as a religious institution in owning this. So that's one benefit that the state gives religious institutions. So this is what we would need to make this happen in the near future. Now, the unique thing about this particular property too is that the seller is currently occupying Unit G, and they're actually interested in selling both units. But they don't want to move just yet. So the price, because both units are around the same size. G is slightly bigger, as you can see here. But the interesting opportunity that presents itself here, is what we've been told is that they would actually be interested in selling the building, but then leasing Unit G back from the new owner for the next 2 years. It's an engineering firm that's currently there now, that's looking to to unload and sell this property. So it presents a unique opportunity for us as a community to if the capital funds were raised to actually purchase both of them, to purchase something with a paying tenant, we guaranteed rent for the next couple of years, that would pretty much cover half of the mortgage payment that we would have for both of these, which is but of course, in order to make that happen requires a significant additional amount of capital. Yes. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, the question was just if they still have a loan out on the building or if they own it outright. Yeah. Sorry. So I'm not sure. So yeah, so that's the unique opportunity, and you guys see the numbers there that we would need to make that happen. Uh, so this is the final slide. We really just want to present to the community that we're really excited about this opportunity that we all have to invest in the future of Yasin. This is going to take this is going to take us as a community to definitely dig deep to make it happen. But we know that every effort that we do to build a masjid for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah will reward us greatly in our akhirah, from this hadith from our Imam and many, many others. So I encourage everyone, please pull out your phone, scan this QR code. You can also go to the yasined.org/donate. There's a button there to take you to our fundraising page for that. So currently, Yasin has about 60,000 in our current funds that we can use towards the purchase of this building, leaving enough in reserves for our ongoing expenses. The trustees have, pledged 100,000 towards this, and potentially a little more, but that's the initial number that I got from speaking with the other trustees. And this is it's a really, really, really great opportunity that we want everyone to consider strongly about. This will provide a more comfortable space for the community. We'll definitely have an improved parking situation that will allow for daytime, weekday programs. Our community will become more financially secure going forward. And what I really ask everyone here to do, we know that everyone is not here. Other people had different commitments tonight, but we need everyone here's help to actually, if you really believe in this and the future of Yasin, to take it upon yourself, not only to make a financial commitment to yourself, but also consider becoming an ambassador. Say, maybe I can afford to give, $5,000. But I know 5 other people that I can also hit up to get $5,000 for them. So I'm going to raise $25,000 for Yasin to help make this happen. So becoming a fundraising ambassador, reaching out into your social networks, extended family, uncles, live across the country that would want to get some ajr for investing in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we really. This is definitely going to be a community help. I know some of the people that filled out the fundraising form. We're going to be following up with you that said that they would help, call and follow up with people. On the form, you'll see that there are options to, of course, make a donation right away, to pledge a certain amount, that you can, deliver. For by a given date, if obviously we're going to get some, we haven't made an offer on the building yet. How we move and where we make an offer is really going to be based on like how soon the community lets us know that they want to make this happen. And that they can pledge them out, because from making an offer and working to close the loan, like all this money is going to have to come together in like 3 weeks. It's not going to be 6 months from now. There is some urgency here. If we get the support from the community and people feel that they can really dig deep, to make this happen, and also if perhaps the full amount. You can't afford to donate, let's say like a large lump sum, please, there's also an option on that donation form to let Yasin know if you're able to offer a Qard Hasan, an interest loan, for a period of time, because that could help us. That's definitely what like I'm considering doing in addition to my donation amount for what was I going to say? Yeah, to allow Yasin to have the lump sum needed up front, right, to secure the property and and then be able to raise money to pay that back over the next couple of years. Yes, I think that's it. Like I said, there are a lot of um, a lot of different ways, that you can potentially get yourself, get access to a large sum. One brother, mentioned to me like that, hey, I've, opened up credit cards, and maxed out a balance transfer. You pay a 3% fee for that amount, but hey, that lump sum that I know I can pay back over the next 12 months or 18 months, however much the credit card company gives you to pay it back interest free. That's what a lot of credit cards do. He was telling me that, hey, that's an option that I'm planning on leveraging, because I've done it before when I needed a lump sum of money and I knew I could pay that back interest free, in the next year, 18 months. Also, I'm definitely, planning to, leverage a credit line, that I also have, on my home, to help get a lump sum of money to make this happen. So, we want everyone in the community to definitely think creatively, in addition to perhaps what you have, not just think of what you have, sitting in a savings account, that you perhaps would be able, really be willing to sacrifice and dig deep and do it. So, oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh, in content, yeah, definitely. So, definitely. So the two questions were, can we expand on the giving Yasin or offering Yasin a loan? Basically, it would be, you would, if someone is interested in giving, Yasin a loan for a lump sum amount, you would set the terms, in the sense like, I need this money paid back in the next, 3 years, 4 years, or, whatever amount, we can agree to a payment schedule, and that would allow us in trying to make this deal. Obviously we're not going to take on more loan obligation than we feel we could pay back, but definitely, looking at, commitments that people have made, pledges, historical donations, like, we would, enter into that agreement with community members, to borrow that money to help us get the lump sum now needed, knowing that we will pay it back at the schedule agreed upon. So that's how that would work. That's how the card Hussain would work. As far as how this property relates to the general market, so I forgot to mention, we're also working closely with our dear brother Darvin, who's in the back. I don't know if you guys know, everyone knows Brother Darvin. He's taller than all of us, I think. So Brother Darvin is a commercial real estate broker. So he stepped up to, has been helping us search for properties and get an idea of what's out there. Of the ones that are on the market that kind of fit in the price range that we were looking at, this definitely, looked like the best, or, was the best as far as it, it had because the main factors that were, there are a lot of buildings, let's say, that are, between 1 and 1.5 million here in LA that maybe have the square footage, but they may not have the zoning, or in many cases they don't have the parking, right? This place has a lot of parking around it, and is in a good area. Or they may not have an HOA that will allow a religious institution, right? So there are a lot of factors that have to kind of line up. This one does. This one checks all of those boxes, and it's in the price point. So there weren't, and it's in good condition. So there wasn't really anything else on the market that we saw right now that checked all of these boxes. And from talking with Brother Habat and Sister Shanaz, who have also been browsing and looking for the last year or two, they haven't seen anything else that kind of checked as many boxes that as this did. So that I think, yeah, I think that's kind of where we see it now. Any other questions? I was gonna, yes. Yes, definitely. So here on on our fundraising page, we definitely mentioned that. So Yasin, is permitted to collect khums, on behalf of Ayatollah Sistani and I think the other Maraja and Najaf, Kauther, yes, or just say Sistani, yes, all the Maraja and Najaf. We do have permission to collect khums to use towards this. So, yeah, yep. So that permission is there. Another thing, yeah, definitely, I would encourage anyone if I recently also found out that I can get an additional, corporate matching. If you work for a corporation, my parent company is CarMax. They sell a bunch of used cars. Inshallah, Yasin's going to get $5,000 from them, or they have a corporate matching donation program. So we definitely encourage anyone here, or if not you, if you have a friend or uncle or so, right, that does work for a company that does corporate matching. We're registered on this is our EIN number to do the corporate match. There are other platforms that do it. Like Benevity, yes.
And somebody has already agreed to match the fundraising that happens for tonight?
Yes, actually, Justin, I was just about to pass it over to you if you wanted to, to sort of speak to, is that not working?
I like to walk around.
There we go.
I can come and stare at your phones as you make your pledges. So can you scroll up back to the code, just in case?
The code.
I'll go back to the code, because I don't know who all has it up on their phones, but inshallah, we want everybody to look at it. Oh yeah, sorry. I have another strange pain point of this current location is that we spotted a coyote outside. So don't let your kids go out for now unattended, but we're safe, inshallah. But yeah, I just wanted to come up and, kind of share some thoughts. It's a big commitment. I know all of us, we love our money, we love our wealth, but I believe Yasin is an organization that's worth loaning that money, right? Because we know that all of our wealth is a loan from Allah, and us giving that money is really, we know that we're going to get it back and then some. Multitudes on multitudes. I was talking to a sister that's recently moved. I won't say from where she moved from, but somebody was encouraging me, saying, hey, you should meet this sister because she's new and she wants to be connected to the community. And I said, do you attend masjid? And she said, I would, but it's just, they tend to not be so friendly. And I said, that's a very sad sentiment, but I really believe that Yasin is not one of those centers. I think it's one of the most healthy, one of the most friendly centers. Every time I've seen somebody new come into this center, whether they're from a background of South Asian, Middle Eastern, or a convert, they're always greeted and treated very kindly here. And I think that's something that's very unique and something that's very special. The times that we're living are really wild. And I think all of you guys would agree that it's a really, really challenging time for all of us, especially those of us who have kids. There's so much uncertainty right now about the way, our kids' belief works. And we know, and we are cognizant of that here at Yasin, to try to give parents the tools, try to give kids the tools that they will need to live lives and lifestyles of mu'mineen. So that's really important to us. So we're hoping that you guys see the same thing. I hope the people that you may not seem like you're paying attention to me, I'm hoping you're thinking about how much money you'll be donating, and I hope you're looking at your phones. Also, one of the things that Hajj Ibrahim mentioned is important is that we want a fundraising team of people who can be ambassadors, people who could help us get on the phones, and really try to make this, because an opportunity like this doesn't come along a while. I remember when they were looking for this location, it took so long to just find this, which is not ideal, as we can see. So, I think we want to do more here, and having more space will really allow us that. Having more sisters events, having more youth events. We really want to continue doing these workshop series. And, if anybody loves that movie, Field of Dreams, what's the motto of Field of Dreams? If you build it, they will come, right? If we, mashallah, we invested in this space. We invested in this space, and we said, wow, look at how great this new center is. And now it's packed. It's so packed that we're all sweating and we're all hot. We got fans running because we have so many people in here. So if we expand, we know more will come, inshallah, right? And we're just building out. So please, everybody, scan. We have a brother, a very generous brother, member of the community, who is going to match all donations for tonight, so up to $50,000. So please consider giving, so we can take advantage of that, right? If you decide, even the young people here, you don't got much money, you want to give $50, that somebody is going to turn that into $100. So we're hoping that you would like to share with us $5,000 or $10,000, so that way that can turn into 10 and 20,000, right? Because this brother will match those donations. So thank you all. I don't want to keep us waiting much further. Invest in the future. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, Sister Dr. Maria was excellent question. So the two questions were really, what is the drop dead date that we would want people to make that commitment? Really, we would want to know people's pledges, that they, strong pledges that they would commit to purchase if everything looks good, like in the next 4 days. Like we would want to know realistically how much could people pledge, like, immediately, because if we're going to make this move on this building, we need to know how much of the community would be able to support this in the short term. Now the second question is, if something, if we get the pledges, the community really wants to make this happen, and then we get into escrow, and if for some reason it falls out of escrow and we don't end up purchasing this building for some reason, what happens to that money? So the same thing would happen with that money as what has happened with prior donations that have been given to us specifically for the purchase of a building. So we've kept that money in a separate account, within within the bank. So some of the money actually from that we had fundraised like 4 years ago towards the purchase of a building. A good amount of it was spent on the build out here, but there's still funds remaining there that we've kept separate. That's part of that 60,000 that we mentioned that we have right now that we can use towards the purchase of a building. So any money is beginning, and if for whatever reason, we obviously, respect any requests from the community members. If they, did say, well, okay, this didn't work out, can we, can we have our donation back? We would definitely honor that. We would let them know, of course, that, if for some reason this it didn't work out. We're obviously going to continue looking, and
Hajj,
whether
I got good news, Hajj.
what's up.
I got good things.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I just got word that the brother who's going to match up to 50,000 says now if the pledges or the donations come in before noon on Monday, he's going to match up to 100,000.
Ma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
And I'll tell you another thing that's wild, that came just in time because we just got a pledge for $85,000.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
So that came absolutely in wild God time.
Absolutely. SubhanAllah. So, I mean, we are like, I'm trying to do the math.
Yeah, let's do the
so
math
if we can get the match, if we get the match from the community,
what's
that's
85 times 2, math
that's
man?
285.
There you go.
That's 285 plus, 160. If we get the match by Monday, and we got that pledge, that's 285 plus 160, which is 385. 445.
This man has a PhD
SubhanAllah.
in computer science, mashallah. Do you see that math? That's the quality we bring, guys. That would have taken me 2 calculators in a week. All right? Anybody else want to whisper an amazing number in my ear or send a letter through a child or a dove?
So, Dr. Mariam is saying something. I'm sorry, can. Oh, he said, Dr. Mariam said put Hajj Mohsen on the spot.
Hajj Mohsen, we're putting you on the spot. Your wife has put you on the spot. What are you pledging? 5K. So that turns into 10. Alhamdulillah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Anybody else want to put their husband on the spot? That was a very effective situation. Here, I'm going to look at the ladies' side. Anybody else? Here, you get come. Yeah. And hey, this is 2023. Anybody want to put their wives on the spot? I should call my wife right now. I'm looking at my texts. So yeah, alhamdulillah, that was amazing.
Alhamdulillah.
I think.
So
yes.
So I mean, please,
Monday
please,
before
please.
noon,
We
we
need to-
have
we
more
need to know.
room for matching.
Yeah. So
We just got another 3K texted in, mashallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Yes. And please fill out, tell everyone, fill out this form, please, everyone. So we have that day. I mean, we'll remember, but having the quick form will help us too. It's really quick. Okay.
And I'm excited about that outdoor space. I think we can do something with that, inshallah.
There's a lot of, that's something that also makes me excited. What was I gonna say? Our future neighbor is actually they're a charitable organization that works with women that have faced domestic abuse and things like that. So they have their offices there, and as we've been told by the seller's agent, they recently moved in and they've expressed interest in transforming that space, making it more functional for them to use. So any sort of build out or rehab that we would do there, we wouldn't be dealing with issues with the association. They would be on board with that. The cost, a lot of the cost would be paid by our neighbors to help make that happen. Yeah.
So there was some issues people were having with the QR code. We're going to send it out to the Yasin WhatsApp group right now. And you'll be able to get it there, inshallah.
I think I can do that, Danny, if you...
Yes. Oh, is that a 2?
I can put it in...
$1,000. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. May Allah protect your family. Bless you. Do I have any other folks as I walk around? I feel like this is The Price is Right.
Hold up. Sorry, I'm trying to get to the Yasin. Is this going to open up? You guys can see all my WhatsApp.
Look at all these WhatsApp messages.
Look at all these WhatsApp, man. That's how it is. Boom. If you're in the WhatsApp group.
There we
bam.
go.
There it is. You got it. inshallah. So Hajj, I don't.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Let me look at the texts. We got another 1,000 came in. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So if you're too bashful and you don't want to whisper to me, let me look at the ladies. One more look, and then we'll continue. Anybody else have any messages? You could put it in a piece of paper, or you could just do it this way because we will get the donation. But if you want to let me know, wink and a nod, whisper.
Yep. If you click, as you can see, as you click the pledge amount, like it's not going to bill or charge anything right away. It will allow you to put in the amount and the date you can pay that. If you know the amount that you could go ahead and put it here and select Zelle, our check, because obviously for a larger amount you would want to send it by Zelle or check to avoid any third-party fees. So this will let us know that, hey, I can give this amount towards this effort, inshallah, if you feel this.
And this is one thing that I think about when I'm in moments like this and thinking about, okay, well, how much am I going to give? I think about all of the moments that haven't been the finest moments of my life. All of the mistakes I've made, all of the rude behavior I've had, maybe raised a voice here or there, maybe done some inappropriate things at times in my life. However, inshallah, your contribution to a building like this, imagine the generations, inshallah, of people and elders and kids learning about Islam, learning about Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, that you contributed to. And then I worry a lot less about the other stuff that I've done. Okay? So just a little piece of thought. Inshallah, we're going to get on with the rest of the program. I think God's trying to cut me off because the battery's dying on this microphone. If anybody else has any fun stuff and they want to make an announcement, you can wink or nod or whisper or send a kid with a note or text me and I'll make an announcement. Otherwise, I think we'll get to the rest of the program of Hajj Kauther. Please welcome him with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Oh, I put the link to it in the WhatsApp group. Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yes, the link to the link to the fundraising page, we put it in the WhatsApp group. Trying to think. Yeah, we don't have it displayed yet. Yeah. So the link to the fundraising page is in the Yasin WhatsApp group. It's also, if you go to our website /donate, there's a button there that says Building Purses Fundraising. So you can also navigate to it from the website. So a couple different ways to get there. It's from the website or in the WhatsApp group. Sorry, we had to put the QR code down.
And amazing brother reminded me, we also have the ability to accept stock donations. So if you have a nice stock portfolio at Fidelity, E-Trade, or any of these guys, it's possible that you can donate that, and that's actually has a lot of tax incentives as well because you don't have to pay capital gains from those. They don't act as gains. It's just a pure donation that goes straight to us. So if you have any questions about that, I'll connect you to the right people, inshallah. So I hope Hajj Kauther's awake. Are you awake? He's barely awake. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allah salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. No worries. Please, can you give me water, please? Yeah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد وأهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين. الله اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم. اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن العلومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وأنه هو أضحك وأبكى. And it is Allah who has made you laugh and cry. I'm going to make my lecture a little bit shorter tonight because I know it's late and everybody's tired and everybody wants to get home. But I want to say a few important things regarding Imam Sajjad alayhi salam. Thank you. Thank you. Please recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ala. And it's very befitting that we talk about Imam Sajjad. I want us to understand how all of these things get connected. How we talk about Imam Sajjad alayhi salam. And what we're talking about today, nothing is unconnected. When we speak about Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, one of the things that we hear is that from Sham, Imam Sajjad alayhi salam came back to Medina. But we never ask the question, why did he come back to Medina? How was Medina formed? What was Medina? Medina was the city of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was referred to as Madinatul Rasul. We call it Medina. But Medina was a city that was never occupied by Muslims initially. It was a city that was occupied by primarily Jewish people. And it was known that Medina was occupied for centuries because the Jews in Medina were waiting for their savior to come. And the Prophet ﷺ had sent numerous emissaries to the city of Medina. And he had numerous communications with the people of the city of Medina, and they had become Muslim. And then they invited the Prophet to come to Medina. But so now what happened in Medina? How did it become the city of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? It didn't magically become like that. The Prophet had to leave Mecca. He had to go to Medina. But now watch this scene. The people of Medina told the Prophet, they said, we want you to come here. And as you know, the Prophet was sleeping in his bed, and the Quraysh came to kill Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imam Ali alayhi salam was in his bed, and the Prophet snuck out at night, and he left in the dead of the night. He hid in the cave. Everybody knows this story. But he gets to Medina, and as he gets to Medina, there is no masjid. They didn't build a masjid before the Prophet got there. There's no masjid. There's nothing. In a matter of fact, the Prophet didn't know where he would build his masjid. And the Prophet brought people with him. And people didn't even know where they would live. And the Prophet still told them, he said, just come. Just come. So now you imagine, they had nowhere to live. The Muslims from Mecca went there. They had no commitment. Nobody told them, oh, just come to Medina, everything's going to be okay. There was no plan. They had zero. Their plan was zero. No, I really mean this. Their plan was zero. They all came on the word of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet told them that they would be successful. He said, come. He went. And he had such faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that everything was against him. They tried to kill him in Mecca. They chased him to Medina. So he arrives in Medina with the Muslims. And the first thing that he does is, it's said in the seerah of the Prophet that he took this camel, and he said, wherever this camel will stop, I'll place a masjid there. And so the camel stops next to see how it's all connected? It stops next to where it was, that camel of where Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari was. Who was Jabir? Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari was the one that went with Imam Sajjad on the 40th back to bury Imam Hussain alayhi salam. But what did Muslims come with? The Prophet ﷺ, when Muslims arrived in the city of Medina, they had nowhere to live. And the Prophet said this to them. He said that I will make you brothers with each other. And they left everything. They left their home. It's not that they left everything in Mecca. They left their families, they left their homes, everything. And he told the Muslims, he said, I want you to become a brother to that person, and they will move in with you. Now, I want you to imagine this. These people say, come Rasulullah. And Rasulullah says, I'm coming. I'm bringing a bunch of people with me. But you want me to come? Now you have to sacrifice. You don't have to sacrifice a little bit of money. You don't have to sacrifice a little bit of time. You don't have to sacrifice a little bit of energy. I want you to sacrifice your homes. You have to make this person your brother. We will establish Islam here. This masjid will be built here, but I want you to sacrifice your entire lives. You have to allow these people into your homes. They will become your brothers. Now, in order to build that masjid took sacrifice. It wasn't something that first masjid, the masjid of the Prophet, this is the same place that Rasulullah, that Imam Sajjad alayhi salam returned to. He came back to Medina. He came to that same home. He didn't go back to Mecca. He came back to Medina, the place where the Prophet built his city. When we build something, it does take sacrifice. It's not going to be easy. But we have to have the foresight. If we don't have that foresight, if the Prophet ﷺ did not have that foresight, now imagine Medina still exists to today. Till today, Medina exists. The majority of the family of the Prophet is buried in Medina if you go to Baqi. Till today. This was always the home where Ahlul Bayt, they came back to. When we talk about Imam Sajjad, and I was going to speak about a slightly different subject here, but when we talk about Imam Sajjad, alayhi salam, there's an interesting hadith that I want to quote to you. And Imam Sajjad was like no other Imam. He was a very, very special Imam. But I want to quote to you this hadith of the Imam. Imam Sajjad said this to his companion, Aba Khalid. Now, most of us, we have this image of the Imams of Ahlul Bayt. We have this image like, this Imam is like this. Everybody has this image in their head. Imam Hussain is like this. Imam Sadiq was probably like this. He used to give a lot of knowledge. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was like this. This Imam had this personality. We have these ideas in our head, right? Because we read history, we hear stories, we think of things. So when I think of Imam Sadiq, I think of, somebody who's teaching, let's say. When I think of Imam Sajjad, I think of somebody who's, what? Crying, making dua, making supplication. But Imam Sajjad was a very special Imam because he had, and I want to mention this hadith. He says, in this hadith, he says, إِنَّ أَهْلِ الزَّمَانِ غَيْبَتِهِ وَقَائِلِينَ بِإِمَامَتِهِ وَالْمُنْتَظِرِينَ لِظُهُورِهِ أَفْضَلُ أَهْلِ كُلِّ زَمَانٍ. He says that the people who live in the time of the ghaiba of the Imam, meaning the 12th Imam, and they believe in his imamah, and they are waiting for him in that period of time, in his before his zuhur. He says, أفضل أهل كل زمان. They will be the best people of all time. Now, you're probably saying, okay, well, big deal. He's talking about Imam Zaman. It's a very big deal. Why would the fourth Imam talk about the 12th Imam. Karbala just happened. He was busy in supplications. He was busy. The Imam was under such pressure, such tyranny, that the Imam was not even allowed to do ziyarat of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. This is how much tyranny the Imam was. When the Imam would go to do ziyarat of Imam Hussain, government officials would come. He would have to change his ziyarat to a dua. But look at this Imam. He's speaking about the 12th Imam. He had 17 members of his family killed. Imam Sajjad should be the Imam that all he talks about is tragedy. And he did talk about tragedy. But he's doing something very strange in this hadith. He's saying that surely the people at the end of time, in that last time, who believe in this Imam, he says, who believe in this Imam, in their Imam, and muntadirina lidhuhurihi. He says, and they are awaiting him, meaning they are actively awaiting him to come back. You know, you can wait, we all know this. There's two ways of waiting, right? We've heard this hadith over and over again. Afdul al-a'mal intidharul faraj, right? The best amal is is waiting. But waiting is in two ways. Waiting is I'm just going to wait and wait and wait. The other wait is anticipating. This is not waiting, it's anticipating. There's a difference. We've all experienced this. We sit and we wait, and we just wait for something to happen. Okay, it's going to happen. All right, I'll let it happen. But the anticipation is different. Anticipation is we're waiting. We're nervous. We want it to happen. When is it going to occur? When is this going to arrive? When will it happen? Now, getting back to Imam Sajjad, alayhi salam. Imam Sajjad just experienced Karbala, but his concern is what's going to happen to the Shias in the future. This is his concern. He could be so self-consumed with his own pain, which he was. And I'm going to talk about this in a second, why this Imam is even more special than we think. But in addition to all his other attributes, he has a vision. He has a vision. You know, you could say, okay, Imam Sadiq had a vision, Imam Kadhim had a vision. All of these different Imams had a vision, yes. But out of any Imam, I want you to think about this. If 17 members of your family get killed, you're constantly under government pressure. All your companions leave you, they vanish. All your friends leave you, they vanish. You're left with nothing. But his concern is the future of the community. This is very important. This is such a model for us, right? Now the Imam continues. He says something interesting. He says, أفضل أهل كل زمان لأن الله تعالى ذكر عطاءهم من العقول وأفهام والمعرفة. He said that these people, by God's grace, these people will be people who have aql, they will have insights of the heart, intelligence of the heart, the inner heart, وَأَفْهَامِ وَالْمَعْرِفَةِ, and they will have understanding, and they will have ma'rifah. They will have deep cognition of God. These people who are in this state of intidhar, who are waiting the Imam. Now, I just want to say something about this. We said this anticipation. What is anticipation? Anticipation is when we say it's not just waiting for somebody to arrive. It is waiting for the opportunity to do something. It's not that we know the event of the Imam. The Imam's going to come here, and the Imam he's going to be doing something. He's not going to come here and, he's going to hang out at Yasin and say, all right, that's what we do, right? At least that's what I do. I want to come here, I want to just sit with everybody, smile, and we talk at dinner. But when the Imam comes, we know he has a program, right? Now, these mu'mineen are different. These mu'mineen are people who are anticipating his arrival because they want to do. They're waiting for the command of the Imam. Now, you don't get opportunities to do things. Sometimes we think that, okay, opportunities, they're always there to do Islamic stuff. They're not. Opportunities are not there to do Islamic stuff all the time. Actually, the opportunities to do Islamic stuff are very rare. Most of the time, we don't have good opportunities. Most of the time, those opportunities are taken away from us because of our laziness, or because we're incapable of doing it, or because we're too busy. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who gives us tawfiq and puts opportunities in front of us. When we look and we read about every community that followed Ahlul Bayt, whether they're communities in far, far parts of the world, you'll read about stories about Shia communities all over the world. There's stories about Shias in the Caribbean. There's stories about Shias in Tibet. Yes, Tibet. There's stories about in the mountains in Tibet, there are Shias there. There's stories all over the world. We have to ask ourselves, who is it the one that went to that mountain and established something? Who was that unknown lover of Ahlul Bayt who went there and did this? So the Imam continues in this hadith. He says, مَسَارَةِ بِالْغَيْبَةُ عِنْدَهُمْ بِالْمَنْزَلَةِ مُشَاهَدَةً وَجَعَلَهُمْ فِي ذَلِكَ زَمَانٍ بِمَنْزَلَةِ الْمُجَاهِدِينَ بَيْنَ يَدَيْ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ بِالسَّيْفِ. He said that these people will be as if, to these people, it does not matter if the Imam is in ghaiba or he's witness, that person is witnessing them. It doesn't matter. He can be either the Imam can be in either ghaiba or the Imam can be there. It's the same for them. Take this for example. Imagine a teacher in a classroom, and this teacher in a classroom is teaching his students, and we've all seen this. Do we have any Sunday school teachers here? How many Sunday school teachers? Raise your hand. 1, 2, any Sundays? 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we have 6 or 7 Sunday school teachers. If I ask all of you, what happens in your Sunday school class as soon as you leave the classroom? Somebody said chaos. Excellent word. Okay? The Imam is saying here, it does not matter whether the students know the teacher is present or whether the teacher is absent. They act the same. And if by perhaps you're a Sunday school teacher, you leave, you know in the back of your head, oh, you already know it. This is chaos. But perhaps if you walk back in and you see everybody just like this, diligently working and studying, you become surprised. You say, what's going on here? You even ask yourself, are they pretending? Are they playing a trick on me? Were they rowdy right before I came in? You get shocked, right? But if it perhaps it's true that they actually are like that they're just as diligent in their studies, when you leave, then you get impressed. You say, these are real students, right? So the Imam Sajjad here, alayhi salam, is talking about these type of followers that in the Imam's absence or in his presence, they're the same, exactly the same. They act the same. Their anticipation to do something is the same. They gave a presentation. I didn't prepare this part of my speech for their presentation, but this was coming to my mind as they were speaking about this, getting this masjid or this center. And I want to remind us that yes, it does take sacrifice, and it will take sacrifice. And sometimes people will have to give a little bit more than they have to. But for our akhirah, this becomes very important. Even if you can't give, go tell 5 people who can give. Tell 10 people who can give. This dunya is very short, very, very short. We take nothing with us. By the way, don't think that people who have millions and billions of dollars, they keep that money, even in their family. People talk about generational wealth. That's all a myth. That's all a myth. Billionaires, you know what's the average that people keep in their generations? 2 generations. After that, it's all gone. So if we have money, give. If you don't have money, talk to somebody. Tell people. This is for our akhirah, inshallah. And for our children. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ahli Muhammad. Okay, I want to speak a little bit about, I'll try to cut my speech short tonight, inshallah. I want to speak a little bit about the psychology of this Imam, Imam Sajjad alayhi salam. Imam Sajjad is a unique Imam. When we think of him, we think of this Imam, I think of this Imam that either I think of him as he must have just been doing dua or he must have just been crying. One of the two, right? And we know this, that the Imam would cry. He constantly would cry over and over again. Matter of fact, it's said that any time that the Imam saw water, he would cry. I mean, water's everywhere. If he was in the marketplace and he saw water, he'd cry. If he saw somebody drinking water, he'd cry. And he would even tell his followers, if you drink water, remember me, right? So the Imam had this deep sorrow for what happened to him. And he expressed it. Now, 99.9% of the population, if you have one person that dies in your family, you are just overwhelmed with grief. If you have 2 people, you're overwhelmed. If you have 3 people, you're overwhelmed. If you have 4 people, you're overwhelmed. If you have 17 people at the same time massacred in front of your eyes, all the women are taken. All the children are taken. 19, I want you to remember this number. We should never forget the tragedies of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Never ever forget them. They stopped at 19 towns. 19 towns, the head of the Imam was put on a spear in the middle of the town. 19 towns, people in the town were told to come and make fun and laugh at the Imam's head. This is all historical. Don't think I'm saying this is all historical. You can find this in any of the books related. People in the town were forced to do this. You can turn the light on. I'm not ready yet. I'm getting there. Not ready yet, inshallah. And the Imam, he had this much grief. Right? Any human being would not have kept their mind. They would have lost their mind. But the Imam was very lucid. The Imam now came back to the community. And yes, he wept. But the second thing, other than dua, the second thing that the Imam was known for, this particular Imam was known for caring for the poor. This is something that we have historical report over and over and over again. I mentioned this in a speech yesterday. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam was known so much for giving to the poor that it said 100 families in Medina, when the Imam died, 100 families, 100, complained that a stranger used to come and give them food, and now that's stopped. 100 families the Imam Sajjad used to support. In a matter of fact, it's so interesting that we have Risalatul Huquq, the treaties of rights, from this Imam. Now, again, I'm going to ask you, if you're so overwhelmed with grief, if you're so overwhelmed with tragedy, how could you care about others? How is it possible that you could care about others? This is an impossible task. But we see that the Imam was so concerned with the rights of other people that we have this treasure. Risalat al-Huquq. What are the rights? As these children, these young children, talked about, they educated us tonight, the rights of the stomach, the rights of the person, the rights of the friend, the rights of the companion, the rights of the mother, the rights of the child, all of these different rights. The Imam was so deeply concerned with everybody else. This is an impossibility for a normal human being. It's not something that anybody could do after 17 members of their family, after all of this trauma. Usually today in the world is so fragile. If a small thing happens to us, we fall apart. we say, I can't think of him, I can't think of her, I can't think of... This even happens in families, right? I can't be bothered with all these people. I'm so consumed with my own grief. I'm so consumed with my own problems. I'm going to read a hadith. I'm going to try to go through this hadith very quickly. And then maybe we'll talk about the tragedy that happened to Imam Sajjad alayhi salam. Please recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I want to run through this hadith very quickly. The Imam says, this is how much he cared for individuals. There's a particular hadith, the Imam says that he's talking about brotherhood and sisterhood. He says that the one who accomplishes his brother's need, if your brother needs anything, Allah will grant that person 100 needs. He who relieves his brother's sorrow, Allah will relieve his sorrow on the day of resurrection. He who helps his brother against a zalim, an oppressor, Allah will help him pass the sirat when all legs will shake. He who strives to fulfill his brother's need and pleases him with fulfilling it, he pleases Allah and His Messenger. If you please a brother or sister's need, if you make them happy, then Rasulullah will be happy with you. Such a beautiful hadith. He who gives water to his brother to quench his thirst, Allah will let him drink a pure drink. He who gives food to his hungry brother, Allah will let him eat from the fruits of the garden. He who clothes his brother, Allah will make him wear silk brocade. He who clothes his brother, Allah will guarantee him as long as there is a thread of the garment on the body of the clothed one. He who removes his brother's worries, Allah will make the youth serve him in Jannah. He who carries his brother, Allah will raise him from the dead on one of the camels of the garden. And he who shrouds his brother when he dies, Allah will clothe him from the day when he was born from his mother. The one who puts a shroud on somebody, Allah will clothe that person on the day of judgment. He who marries his brother, he who marries his brother to someone, helps his brother get married. Sorry, I gotta be careful with that one these days. He who marries his brother to a wife, the hadith says, Allah will make him have intimacy in his grave with the most beloved of his family. He who visits his sick brother, the angels will surround him and supplicate for him until he leaves. By Allah, accomplishing a need is more lovable with Allah than fasting successive months in the sacred months. So, this is Imam Sajjad's view of helping people. And so we can see this amazing personality of Imam Sajjad. He wasn't just, we should never think of the Imams as, oh, he just had this one personality, I can't relate to him, he was just this guy who cried. He had this amazing personality. He was very much involved in things. At the same time, he would grieve for the tragedy of Karbala, not allowing us to forget. I want to talk a little bit about what happened. I want to talk a little bit of what happened on that night, the night of the 10th, when one of the soldiers came to Imam Hussain alayhi salam. One of them asked, "What kind of revenge do you think God will take?" And the Imam said that some of you will kill others and the punishment of God will come pouring down. And then one of them asked, "What kind of revenge do you think God will take again?" He said, "Some of you will kill others and the punishment of God will pour down on you." We see that on this 10th night that Salama, she had a dream where the Prophet was in her dream and he was upset with dust on his head. And when Salama asked him why he was dusty, the Prophet replied, "My son was killed, and I was digging a grave for him." We see on this night that the army of Umar ibn Sa'd marched towards the women and children and looted whatever was in the tents. When they were done, they set the remnants of tents on fire, and the soldiers began to fight over the women, but they resisted and they ran in different directions. The soldiers took their robes, their rings, their earrings. One of them ripped Kulthum's earrings out of her ears and she bled. A soldier approached Fatima, the daughter of Imam Hussain, who was crying as he took her ankle bracelet. He asked her, "Why are you crying?" She asked him, "Why are you crying?" He said, "Because I am stealing from the daughter of the Prophet." She asked then, "Why are you stealing this? Why are you taking this?" And he replied, "If I don't take this, somebody else will." A man then came with his spear and took all the women together, put all the women together. When he looked at Fatima, he put his eyes on her to take her as a slave. She ran in the middle. He went after her and hit her with his spear, knocking her unconscious. Zainab came and protected her and drove away the soldier, and then took Fatima in her lap until she woke up. There was a woman in Umar ibn Sa'd's army. When she saw what was happening to the women, she yelled, "The children of the Prophet of God, how dare you? They're in this situation. What will be your answer to Rasulullah?" One of the soldiers shouted, "We must take revenge for the Prophet of God." They captured Imam Sajjad while he was lying in his bed and he was unable to move, and some of them said, "Kill him. Do not leave any of them alive." Others said, "No, wait until we hear our orders from Umar ibn Sa'd." Shimr took his sword and moved it to kill Imam Sajjad. A soldier then came and said, "Shame on you, you are killing a young boy." And Shimr said, "Ibn Ziyad has ordered us to kill all of the family of the Prophet." They sent a messenger to Umar ibn Sa'd, and he denied it. And then Ali ibn al-Hussein, Imam Sajjad said, Zainab said, "You cannot kill him without killing me." Umar went to check afterwards, and he saw the women in the battlefield. When the women saw him, they cried, and they began to curse him. They eventually took the women, and they said, he called and he asked his army, he said, "Who would be willing to come forward and run their horses on the chest of Hussein?" 10 of them replied, and they trampled over the bodies of the Imam and his followers. Umar ordered the heads to be cut off, and all of them were cut off. He distributed them amongst the chiefs of the various tribes. The tribe of Hur saved his head from being cut and took his body away from the battlefield before the army rode their horses over their bodies. Then Umar sent the head of Imam Hussain, and the rest of the heads were sent with Shimr. They took the head of the Imam and hid it in Kufa, away from his wife, because he knew that she was a follower. When she heard the women crying for the Imam, she realized that it was the head of Imam Hussain. Someone came to Ibn Ziyad and they recited this poem. They said, "O governor, you should fill my sacks with gold or silver. I have killed the most honorable master, the one who is the best in genealogy and who had the best father and mother." Ibn Ziyad said, "If you know he was like that, then why did you kill him?" Umar remained in Karbala with the rest of the army and the women until noon of the 11th day. He gathered all of the dead. He left the Imam's body and his followers without burial. And at noon he left towards Kufa, carrying all of the women and children. There were 20 women altogether. Imam Sajjad was 23 years old. He was on a camel without a saddle. His son, Imam Baqir, was 2 years old. The women begged for the army to let them see the dead bodies on their way. The army agreed and took them. When they saw the scene, they fell on their bodies, each one of them kissing and crying on the bodies. Suddenly Zainab yelled, "O Muhammad, this is Hussain, stoned by catapults mixed with blood and sand. His body parts are cut off. O Muhammad, your children are taken captive and your descendants are killed." Then she put her hand on the body of Imam Hussain and said, "O Allah, accept this sacrifice from us." When the army saw this, they cried. Sukaina dropped onto the body of her father and heard someone saying, "O my followers, whenever you drink water, remember me. And whenever you hear of a stranger or a martyr, cry for me." Suddenly Zainab looked at Imam Sajjad. She saw him very weak and almost about to faint. She went to him and said, "Oh, the memory of my grandfather, my father and my brothers. This is the covenant of God and your grandfather and your father. The tyrants of this earth do not understand this. Indeed, the followers of the Prophet's house will come and honor these bodies and the parts and limbs that were cut off and raise a flag on this land, a flag which would never be lowered. The tyrants will work day and night to eradicate his name, but whatever they do only increases the respect for his name." The women and children didn't want to leave the bodies. When the prisoners went to Kufa on their way to Ibn Ziyad's castle, people began gathering to look and see who the prisoners were. A lady came and asked, "Which war are you prisoners of?" They said, "We are the prisoners from the house of Prophet Muhammad." They paraded them in the streets to show the people that the army was victorious. People asked questions as they passed, and some people gave food. More people gathered, giving them food and bread. And Zainab and Kulthum took the food from the children and gave it back to the people, saying, "Charity given to the Prophet's house is a sin." When Zainab reached a large group of people, she stood and pointed to the people to be silent. When everyone became quiet to hear what she wanted, she said, "All praise is due to God and blessings be upon the Prophet. O people of Kufa, people of treachery and deception, you cry. May you never end your crying. You have no one among you but dirty, stubborn liars, and you have done what will bring the wrath of Allah. May you never end your crying, and may your laughs be very few. You carry the shame that cannot be washed away again. You have killed the descendants of the Prophet. May the Lord's claim be against you of your time and the light of this world. O people of Kufa, do not know what heart of the Prophet you have cut out? Do you not know what honored women of the Prophet's house you have enslaved and dishonored? Do you not know what blood of the Prophet you have shed? Indeed, you have done so grave and an error that is nothing but will take its place. It will be no wonder if the sky rains blood, and the punishment of the hereafter is the worst punishment. Imam Sajjad noticed some movement among the people and said to her, "O my aunt, please be silent. Indeed, you are knowledgeable without being taught." Then Fatima, the daughter of Hussain, spoke. Praise be to God, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger, and the children of the Prophet were killed at the Euphrates without any help. O God, you know that I speak the truth, and I do not say anything but what is according to the teaching of Ali ibn Abi Talib, who was killed in your house. And his son was killed yesterday. He returned to his Lord without any blame. O God, you have chosen for him Islam when he was a child, and he helped your Prophet when he was young. O people of Kufa, people of deceit and treachery and arrogance, we are the people of the household of the Prophet. Allah has made this a trial for you and for us. God has honored by our Prophet Muhammad. Brothers and sisters, in this time, think of our sins, whatever sins we have done, whatever things we have done wrong against our family, whatever things we have done wrong against people around us. In this time, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us for any sins that we have done. The family of the Prophet. Again, the daughter of the Prophet said, Fatima said, you called us liars and unbelievers. You looted our wealth as if we were the children of a foreign land. Your swords have shed our blood of the people of the house of the Prophet. You think you are smart, but Allah is smarter than you. Whatever reaches us from God is the best. On this night, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us tawfiq, to be able to weep and to grieve for the family of the Prophet. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to be from the people of the last time in the ghaybat of the Imam that Imam Sajjad spoke about. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help all those who are sick, all those who are poor, all of the widows, the orphans, the refugees, the prisoners, all of those who are living under tyranny in this world. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to elevate our deeds, to forgive our lapses. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us the anticipators of the Imam of the age. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alihi at-tahirin.
Thank you all. So just a few announcements. There's going to be a workshop tomorrow, inshallah, with Hajj Kauther about the Muslim family and the challenges of raising young men. That'll be tomorrow at 11 a.m. So inshallah, many of you can make it. Anybody who has kids, anybody who wants to have kids, inshallah, should come. And then next Sunday, the 20th, the workshop will be the relationship between Iman and mental health. That's with Sheikh Naveed, and that's over Zoom. And then the following Sunday is the 27th. That's Islamic lifestyle, advanced topics in Islamic homeschooling, and that'll be here at Yasin with Hajj Kauther. So again, we ask you to make pledges before Monday at noon, so we can maximize, inshallah, that matching donor. Please, if I can have a few